Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Keeping Score podcast. I'm your host, Josh Amick. I'm here with Glacier senior point guard Reese Ramey of the Glacier Wolfpack. We're going to give you a little behind the scene about what she does, how she gets so good at basketball, and where the team is at, and break down the matchup with Crosstown, which I know she's probably looking forward to. So we're going to get right into it. Reese, I do want to give the people at home a little bit of an idea of how you got into basketball and how long you've been on the varsity team for the Wolfpack.
Well, I've been playing basketball basically my whole life. Started with little dribblers, and that was super fun. And then I played on a travel ball team from 3rd grade to 8th grade, and we just did a bunch of tournaments. Then my dad coached us, so that was a lot of fun. And I'm still best friends with all those girls, so that was great. And then my freshman year, I made varsity for Glacier. Yeah, I guess I've been playing for Coach Cram ever since.
She's been your coach the whole time you've been at Glacier?
Yeah.
So it sounds like that your love for basketball, did that kind of stem from your dad? Do you have brothers growing up, or how did your love for basketball come to be?
Our family is just a really sports-oriented family.
Okay.
I have a younger brother, and he plays all the sports too, And I don't know, I guess we just are competitive, and we loved just being together and traveling and going on road trips for sports and stuff. So yeah, I guess just kind of that. I don't know if it's necessarily my dad got me into loving basketball. He definitely helped get me started and stuff, but I've always just had a special place in my heart for it. So
one of the things I do want to talk about is I've covered a couple of your games, and one thing I'm really impressed by is that your ability to handle pressure, not only just because you're a point guard, but you have a real tight handle on the basketball. You don't really get shook when teams are pressing or doing anything like that. Were you always that kind of player, or was it just over time you got better with your handle, you got more composed with you going into your senior year? Did that something you build up, or were you always kind of like a relaxed person on the court?
Definitely not. I've definitely had to work on it a lot. When I was younger, I would just turn and throw it and it turn over. So I've definitely had to work on my ball handling a lot. But I think just if you can dribble, you can do anything. On the court, in order to get places, you have to be able to dribble. And I've always just taken pride in always being the best ball handler on the court. And that's just always kind of been my goal. And I always try to have a really tight handle on it. So
you've been with Coach Cram the entire time you've been at Glacier, correct?
Yes.
This year, you guys are 4-4 so far in the season. How does this year kind of compare to the years since you've been there as a freshman as far as the talent on the team and where you feel that the team is at right now in the season?
I'd say our chemistry is just a lot different than it's ever been. We all get along super well, and we're all each other's best friends, and it's really fun. And we just support each other throughout practice and through games, and the ups and downs of winning and losing. And this is the best season, starting season I've ever had. I think we won 4 games total last year or something like that. Maybe.
So you're already at that total.
But yeah, so that's just, it's a lot more fun just to win too. So
yeah. One of the things that Coach Cramp I talked to her about it at your guys' last game. She said that your guys' goal this year is to still win Western. How do you feel that the team is especially with losing Cadence and Maddie still dealing with her ankle injury? How is the team going to get to that level and keep improving on already the good year that your team has had?
Well, I think it just comes down to we know our goals for the season, and we know where we want to be. We want to be in that 1-2 seed going into state, just because that just puts us in a lot better position in the state tournament. And I think that even with our losses last week, which were tough, we just it just motivates us even more to try to improve through every single practice and every single game.
Speaking of wins and losses, 2 weeks ago, your team, for the first time in school history, swept the Helena teams. Were you guys aware of that going into the game? Did you just treat it like a normal game and then found out afterwards, or am I breaking the news to you now?
Well, personally, I'd never beaten Helena High in my all 4 years at Glacier.
Okay.
In basketball, and so that was just really fun for me on Friday. And then Saturday, I didn't really know that we never done it. I knew we hadn't done it very often, or it was a rare thing, but I didn't know we'd never done it. So after the game, that was a really fun surprise. So.
Who broke the news that it was?
Denny. He came into our room, locker room after, and was did you guys know that was the first time ever being the Helena's sweep the whole weekend? And they were no way. So
that's good. Maybe it was a good thing that you didn't know, because you can just kind of play more free. You're not dealing with those expectations. But moving on to expectations, this is a game that I feel like all the local kids always have circled, no matter what sport it is. It's the Crosstown matchup. You got that going Friday. You guys get the late night slate this time at 7:30. I saw a couple of the Flathead players at your guys' last game. Do you have good relationships with a lot of the Flathead Brave Vets players, or are you more so like when we see you guys at SON no matter what?
I'd say it's like a pretty good relationship. Like a lot of them are younger, so I don't really know a lot of them really well, but I know a lot of like my younger teammates. They're really good friends with all of them. Like they hang out with them all a lot. I played against a couple of them for a few years now, but I'd say like we're pretty friendly. Like it's not really like, I feel like the boys have a lot more like animosity between them than we do. So I mean, makes it kind of fun. It's like, it just makes it a more fun environment, a little less like at each other's throats and stuff. But I still kind of like that competitive, like, oh, we don't like you, you don't like us. So I wish maybe it was a little more like that, because then it's like, oh, it's on. But I think it's still gonna be like that, even if we are like all friends.
With all your years of playing in these crosstown matchups, do you feel like this is a year that you guys are poised to beat this team? Because I know Flathead last year lost a lot of seniors, and they were a lot more competitive than they have been so far in this season. How do you feel about going into Friday's matchup? What are your expectations?
I think definitely just trailing off like the last week, like with our loss to Butte, and they beat Butte. I think it's just like, I think we're definitely gonna put it to them. Like I think it'll be definitely a competitive game, and it'll be like it's gonna be tough. Like we're not overlooking or anything, but I think we're all just looking to like get ours, I guess. So
yeah, is there any sort of more specialness to it? Obviously, you guys are going to be the home team this time around, but also you guys get the late game. So the boys got to go at 6, then you guys get the shining moment. So is there pressure for that, or is that something you look forward to, kind of having all eyes on you for the matchup?
I kind of like it a little bit, just because, especially after like the boys game, the energy's gonna be really high, because that'll probably be a close one, and so I think it'll just make the environment fun.
Fair enough. So you're going into are you already in your senior year? What's next after basketball? Do you have any plans to go to college to continue playing basketball? Do you have any offers or out there, anything like that?
I have a few offers. At some like out of state schools, but I'm just kind of leaving the door open. I don't really know what I'm gonna do quite yet. So
okay. Last thing I want to talk to you about is what are your expectations the rest of the year, and talk a lot about team chemistry, which is going to be important when these games really start to matter towards the end of the season and hopefully into a playoff run. What is going to be the goal for the Wolfpack to continue building off of the wins that they had against Helena and other teams to continue that winning?
I think we just gotta stay composed, like, because we're gonna have a lot of tough games, like close games at the end, and I think just executing well and just limiting our turnovers is gonna be a big one.
I want to thank Reese Ramey for taking the time out to join us on the Keeping Score podcast. Make sure you get to Glacier on Friday. It's going to be a fun event with the boys starting at 6 and her team, the Wolfpack, starting at 7:30 at the Wolf Den. It's going to be a great environment, so go there, support your local teams. Thank you again, Reese, for joining us, and we'll see you all in the next episode of the Keeping Score podcast. Thanks to Corwin Motors for sponsoring the Keeping Score podcast. At Corwin Motors, they're proud to be family-driven for over 100 years. Their commitment goes beyond selling cars. They're dedicated to serving our community and providing you with the highest quality vehicles to fit your lifestyle. Whether you're searching for reliability, style, or comfort, they got you covered. They understand that you rely on their website for accurate and up-to-date information, and it's their promise to deliver relevant, detailed content that meets your needs. So if you're in the market for a new Chevrolet or just want to learn more, visit CorwinMotorsKalispell.com.